So now let's talk about what is Ingress. So Ingress is officially not considered as a Kubernetes service type, but it can be used to expose services. So Ingress exposes HTTP and HTTPS routes from outside the cluster to services within the cluster. And traffic routing is controlled by the rules that is defined on an Ingress resource. So you create an ingress object in front of multiple services and it acts as an intelligent router. So based on a certain path, it can route your traffic. Based on certain host, it can route traffic to different services. All right. And it defines how external traffic can reach the cluster services. And it does by configuring a set of rules to allow the inbound connections to reach to the services on the cluster. And it is defined, all these rules are defined by annotations. So there are multiple ingresses, I would say ingress controllers in the market. So for an ingress to work, the prerequisite is to have an ingress controller. Ingress controller will control how the ingress is, directing the traffic from outside the internet to a particular service based on a certain path or based on a certain host. Okay, and in order for the ingress resource to work, as I said, the cluster must have ingress controller installed and running. Okay, and they're not started automatically. You need to explicitly or manually install ingress controller within your cluster to make your ingress rules work. Okay, so let's understand with the help of a diagram. So we have this is a traffic which is coming from outside the internet, and here we have created our ingress. Inside that ingress we have defined multiple rules. So now what we are doing is we are just creating a single ingress for our to expose by multiple services. Whereas in load balancer type service, what we did is we need to create a single load balancer type service for each service. So let's say we have three applications, we have three services, so we need to create three load balancer type service to expose my application, and three load balancer will spin up three load balancer type service will spin up three load balancers, which in turn turns out to be very costly. So that is the main difference between ingress and load balancer type service. Whereas in ingress, we can use a single ingress to direct the traffic to multiple services. So we can see the traffic comes to my ingress, and here I have three services. First, I have configured foo.myapp.com, second is myapp.com/bar, and slash all the other traffic will route to third service. So I have defined these three rules inside my ingress. Okay, and based on the rules it is directing the traffic. So if the user type foo.myapp.com and hit enter, the traffic will be routed to this particular service. If a user on the external user types myapp.com/bar on its browser, then the traffic will route to the second service, and apart from that all the other traffic will route to the third service. Alright, so this is another example like that will give you more clear idea of how ingress works. So what ingress will do is ingress will spin up a load balancer. So this is the ingress managed load balancer, and in terms of AWS you can control whether you want to have application load balancer or a network load balancer. Okay, so we have ingress managed load balancer, we have ingress defined rules, routing rules defined inside my ingress YAML file. So based on that rules, it will route the traffic to the services, and from service the traffic will reach to the pods. Alright, so I hope this makes sense how the ingress works. Why I am giving so much emphasis on that, because the next lecture is going to be based on completely ingress, right, where we will be using AWS load balancer controller to expose the ingress. That's why it is very important to understand before that what is ingress and how ingress works. So this is just an example of a YAML file. So you can see that the kind will be ingress here, and this is we are taking an example of Nginx ingress controller. So this is the annotation of Nginx ingress, and we are specifying the ingress class, and here are the rules which we're talking about. So we are saying that if the user will type myapp.com, so it will forward all the traffic to this particular service named myapp-service on port number 80. Okay, and this is another example of ingress where we are saying that if the path is /foo, then direct the traffic to foo service. If the path is /bar, then direct the traffic to bar service on port 80 in both the cases. Alright, so I hope this makes more sense. And The popular Ingress controllers, as I said, for Ingress to work, the main thing is you need to install the Ingress controller within an environment. And these are the two popular Ingress controllers in the market right now, that is Nginx Ingress controller and AWS Load Balancer controller. So we will be seeing the demo of the AWS Load Balancer controller in our next lecture. So I hope guys now Ingress is clear to you, and it will be more clear when we will do a demo. So I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section and I will be more than happy to answer your queries. Thank you.